Hello everyone, welcome back to English Lovers Studio. We've learned phrasal verbs with the particles up, down, out, off, over, for, and with. Today, we'll continue with even more. Next, we're moving on with on. Try on. You know that moment when you're in a store and you see a piece of clothing that you just have to try on? This means putting on a piece of clothing to see if it fits or if you like it. I tried on 3 different dresses before I found the perfect one for the party. Or, she tried on the jacket, but it didn't fit quite right. Weigh on, sometimes worries can feel heavy, like they're weighing on you. This phrase means something is worrying or upsetting you. The decision to move to a new city weighed on him for weeks. Or, her harsh words weighed on my mind all day. Put on, ever seen someone acting in a way that just doesn't seem real? They might be putting on an act, pretending to have a particular feeling or behaving in a way that isn't natural for them. He put on a brave face even though he was terrified inside. Or, don't put on airs, we all know you're not that fancy. Rely or depend or count on, when you know someone has your back, you can rely on them. This means being confident that someone will help you. And if you use upon instead of on, it sounds slightly more formal. I can always count on my best friend to cheer me up. Or, you can depend on me to help you with your project. Keep on, sometimes, you just have to keep on going, no matter what. This phrase means to continue doing something. She kept on studying even though she was exhausted. Or, if you keep on practicing, you'll master this skill in no time. Pass on, this one's about sharing, whether it's a message, a tradition, or even a dish at the dinner table. It means to give something. She passed on the family recipe to her children. Or, can you pass on the news to the rest of the team? And with that, let's move on to in. Call in, ever drop by a friend's place just to say hi? That's calling in. It means visiting a place or person for a short time, usually when going somewhere else. I called in on my grandmother on my way home. Or, he called in at the office to pick up some papers. Take in, when you take in something, you're making it fit better, like a pair of pants that are just a little too loose. This phrase can also mean to make a piece of clothing narrower. I had to take in my jeans after losing some weight. Or, she took in the waist of the dress to make it more flattering. Rub in, sometimes, when applying lotion or ointment, you need to really rub it in. This means putting a substance on the surface of something and rubbing it so that it goes into the surface. Make sure to rub in the sunscreen well so you don't get burned. Or, he rubbed in the polish until the shoes shine like new. Lock in, imagine locking someone inside to keep them safe or to keep them from escaping. This means preventing someone from leaving a room or building by locking the doors. The guards locked the prisoners in for the night. Or, they locked in the deal with a firm handshake. Push in, informal, ever had someone cut in front of you in line? That's pushing in, and it's definitely not cool. It means rudely joining a line of people who are waiting by going in front of some of the people who are already there. He rudely pushed in front of everyone waiting in line. Or, don't push in, wait your turn like everyone else. Sink in, when something finally makes sense or hits you hard, it sinks in. This phrase is used about something unpleasant or surprising, which usually has implications. It took a moment for the bad news to sink in. Or, the reality of the situation slowly sank in as he read the letter.
Alright, now let's meander into the relaxed world of around and about. Around and about are often interchangeable in phrasal verbs, and they usually express the idea of acting in a relaxed way, without a particular purpose, or without concentrating. Most of the verbs listed here are informal. Around and about, spending time. Wait about or around. This is what you do when you're just hanging out, not doing much, waiting for someone to happen. It means staying in one place without doing anything while waiting for someone to happen. We waited around for hours before the concert started. Or, I hate waiting about with nothing to do. Laze about or around. When you're just chilling with no particular agenda, you're lazing around. This means relaxing and enjoying yourself by doing very little. I spent Sunday lazing around the house in my pajamas. Or, they lazed about on the beach all day. Sit about or around. This is similar to lazing about, just spending time sitting down and doing very little. He spent the afternoon sitting around watching TV. Or, don't just sit around. Help me clean the house. Hang about or around. This is all about spending time somewhere without a real purpose. Kids were hanging about the park after school. Or, he likes to hang around the cafe, even when he's not ordering anything. Mess about or around. When you're just playing or being silly, you're messing around. It also means behaving stupidly or wasting time doing unimportant things. Stop messing about and get to work. Or, they spent the afternoon messing around with some old instruments. Mess someone about or around. This means treating someone badly or wasting their time, for example, by changing your mind or not doing what you promised. He messed me about all day, changing plans every hour. Or, stop messing her around and make a decision. Lie about or around. If you're lying around, you're just lying down, not doing much. This means spending time lying down and doing very little. She was lying around on the couch all day. Or, they lay about in the sun enjoying the warm weather. Around and about, being in a place. Milling about or around or round. This is what you do when you're wandering without a clear direction. It means walking around a particular place or area, usually while waiting for someone or doing very little. People were milling about the mall, not really shopping. Or, the guests milled around the room, chatting with each other. Stand about or around or round. When you're just standing around waiting for someone or someone, this is the phrase to use. It means spending time standing in a place, waiting for someone or doing very little. We stood around for an hour before the concert started. Or, stop standing around and start working. Stick around. When you decide to stay in a place for a while, you're sticking around. It means staying somewhere for a period of time. I'll stick around after the meeting to help clean up. Or, he stuck around to see if he could catch a glimpse of the celebrity. Take around or round. This one's all about showing someone around a place. It means visiting a place with someone, showing them the most interesting or important parts. She took her guests around the city, showing them all the sights. Or, I'll take you around the office to meet everyone. Show someone around or round. Similar to take around, this means going with someone to a place they haven't visited before and showing them the interesting parts. Let me show you around the campus. Or, he showed his friends around the new house.
Let's continue with away phrasal verbs. Tear away. This means to force someone to stop doing something enjoyable. I'm sorry to tear you away from your computer, but I need your help. Sometimes, it's hard to tear someone away from what they love. For example, she was so engrossed in the movie that I couldn't tear her away from the screen until it was over. Turn away. This means to move your face so you don't look at something. When they show an operation on TV, I have to turn away. Another example, he turned away when the fireworks got too loud. Stay away. This means to avoid something. I think I should stay away from desserts. I'm putting on weight. Avoiding negativity is also important. You should stay away from negative people if you want to stay positive. Lock yourself away. This means to go somewhere alone, usually to work. I decided to lock myself away in my room until I finished my essay. Sometimes, solitude helps you focus. For instance, he locked himself away in the garage to finish building the model airplane. Run away, this means to leave a place secretly or suddenly. Did you ever run away from home as a child? Sometimes, people run away from responsibilities too. She ran away from her responsibilities when things got tough. Scare away, this means to frighten someone or something so that they leave. The farmer wants to scare the birds away. Loud noises can be effective. For example, loud noises scare away the deer from the garden. Now, let's look at phrasal verbs with into. Run into, this means to meet someone unexpectedly. I ran into Maria in town today. It was nice to see her again. These unexpected encounters can be pleasant, like when I ran into an old school friend at the grocery store. Burst into, this means to suddenly start making a noise, like crying, laughing, or singing. Poor Julia. The boss told her he didn't like some of her work, and she burst into tears. Another example, he burst into laughter when he heard the joke. Read into, this means to believe an action or remark has more meaning than it does. The boss wants to have lunch with me. Anna says I shouldn't read too much into it, but I'm suspicious of his motives. Don't read too much into his compliments, he's just being polite. Go into, this means to discuss something in detail. He went into his marriage problems in great detail. I felt sorry for him. Another example, the professor went into the history of the conflict during the lecture. Throw into, this means to start doing something with enthusiasm. I decided to throw myself into gardening now that spring is here. Another example, after the meeting, she threw herself into organizing the event. Buy into, this means to completely believe in a set of ideas. The boss wants us all to buy into his ambitious new plan for the company, but I'm not convinced. Another example, I'm not sure I buy into the whole work-life balance idea, it seems like a myth. Launch into, this means to start doing or talking about something enthusiastically. As soon as Nathan saw me, he launched into a long account of his travels. Another example, she launched into a passionate speech about climate change at the conference. Bang into, this means to hit something by accident. Trying to cross the room in the dark, he banged into a small table and knocked it over. Another example, I was in a rush and banged into the doorframe on my way out. Bump into, this means to meet someone by chance. I bumped into your sister in town this morning. Another example, we bumped into some old friends at the concert last night. Now, let's root for our final group for today. Through. Through in phrasal verbs gives the idea of going from one side of someone to the other, or from the beginning to the end of someone. Sleep through, ever slept so soundly that you missed someone important? This means to continue sleeping even though there's noise or someone else that could wake you up. I slept through my alarm this morning and was late for work. Or, he slept through the storm without even knowing it happened. Live through. It means to experience a difficult situation or period. She lived through the Great Depression and has some amazing stories to tell. Or, we all lived through that difficult year together. Flick through, when you quickly look through the pages of a book or magazine, you're flicking through it. This means turning the pages of a book or magazine quickly, looking at them but not reading everything. I flicked through the magazine but didn't find anything interesting. Or, she flicked through her notes before the exam. Look through, this is about examining someone carefully. It means looking at someone carefully so that you can make a decision about it. He looked through the documents before signing. Or, I need to look through my emails to find the one she sent. Go through. She went through her notes one last time before the test. Or, they went through a tough time last year, but they're stronger for it. Put someone through, this phrase is about connecting someone, usually in a phone call. Could you put me through to the manager, please? Or, I'll put you through to the IT department for help. Go through with. He was nervous, but he went through with the presentation anyway. Or, she decided to go through with the surgery despite the risks. We've been through a lot today, haven't we? I hope this deep dive into phrasal verbs has made you feel more confident and ready to tackle whatever English throws your way. Until next time, keep on learning and keep those expressions flowing. And remember, language learning is a journey, so enjoy every step along the way. Thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next one.